Oh, I love me some crossovers. Bryce Lewis, yours truly, Cyrus Satsas, Believe in Hawks. Golden Daze, Bryce, how the hell are you doing, brother? Great to see you.
Hey, man, glad to be back, man. I'm doing all right. How you doing today, man? You good?
Well, we were talking before we started. I've been scrambling a bit. Sorry apologies to the live audience for being a little late. That was my fault. I was scrambling today, but we were talking before we started recording about how life's going, and you were telling me how things are good from your perspective. And I was telling you, at least when it comes to anybody who's interested in the Warriors, we're bitter, man. I mean, we're about to face a rebuild, and this Jonathan Kuminga trade. I mean, look, Golden Daze and myself, we were advocating strongly for the Warriors to not make that trade, that they were blowing it, giving up a talent like that. And the Hawks are benefiting, man. They're reaping the rewards. Bryce, if you don't mind, let's start there, dude. What is your initial feedback, your initial reaction? The last time we spoke, the trade had just happened. I don't know how many games have passed. What I do know is you guys haven't lost a single game since that trade, I believe. You're riding an 11-game winning streak. Everything looks golden for the Hawks, not for the Warriors. How are you feeling about the JK experience?
Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Obviously he's been dealing with some knee issues that he had when he got traded over to us from the Warriors, but he's been working back through that. He's been playing. He played the last 2 games. He's played, especially yesterday against the Mavericks. Probably had his best game since coming back again from the knee injury. Had a couple of games there where he kind of, what you could see, some shakiness. Obviously, he's just not playing consistently. You got to get into the rhythm. He's a big rhythm guy. Has to kind of feel it so he could kind of, know how to go about it next. So
correct.
Overall, I think, Kaminga's experience has been great. Obviously, when he started playing for us the first time, those 3 straight games, just taking the city by storm and kind of everybody getting excited about what he was doing, what he was bringing to the table, and just all the highlight plays that he brought. And then obviously, just the smiles. He's been smiling a lot about just being in a different situation and a different opportunity. So overall, I think Kaminga has been a really good addition to the Hawks. And I think that, this we know, and I've said this and I'll say this here, that if we're going to truly make noise in the postseason, if we truly are going to maybe potentially have an Eastern Conference Finals 2021 like run, we're going to need Kaminga to be able to get that done because of what he brings to the table. I think you muted yourself.
Muted. Thank you, Bryce, for correcting me on that. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the part about rhythm, because that's something I've been saying regarding Kuminga's game. It's something I recognized fairly early on, and it's sadly something Steve Kerr never realized, or at least that he acknowledged it near the end of his tenure, where he did admit at the very end, I think this was the year 5 this season, that Kuminga's a rhythm guy. And I think he brought that up as an excuse for why he was oftentimes DNPing him instead of bringing him in for garbage time, because there was like a 5-week stretch where we did not see Kuminga play at all, and it was not because of injury. And then Steve Kerr finally did acknowledge, he goes, well, he needs his rhythm, he needs time out there, and we've been saying this for years, that to treat Kuminga like this role player is wasting your asset. It's misusing who he is as an individual if you want to get the most out of him, which in turn benefits your team. And that's giving the kid minutes. That's, like you said, letting him get into the rhythm of a game, and not just using him for like specific roles, although I'm sure he's also getting used to things in Atlanta, and maybe at this point he's comfortable slowly easing into things. But dude, last night we're doing a post-game show here on Golden Daze. The Warriors just got their asses kicked by the Boston Celtics, and during the show, the Hawks are playing. And I see in the chat suddenly people going crazy because of some long shot. And I finally looked at the replay, and Kaminga makes that like 80-footer that was, I think, intended to be a pass as the buzzer beated. What was your reaction to that shot? And how did the Atlanta Hawks fans take that?
I mean, honestly, when that shot went in, it was kind of one of those, like, everybody had the reaction of like, what just happened? Like that wasn't supposed to happen, but it was a good thing. And so, I literally tweeted right after that. I was like, I think that might be the shot of the year, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even though it was supposed to be a pass, that might have been the shot of the year. And so, I obviously, first it clearly shows his brother can, I guess if we need a late, time running down, we're not going to go over half court. Give it to Jonathan Kaminga because apparently he can make it from any part of the court, which, I mean, hey, that's always a secret weapon in and of itself. But, yeah, I mean, and then the Hawks fans, obviously, they ate that up. Obviously, they were just like, this is incredible. Wow, he did what? Like, it was, I mean, Hawks social media has been really pushing that 3-4 different angles of the shot. Like, obviously one of those ones that just, like I said, it's just the fact that it wasn't supposed to be that. He was just trying to do an outlet pass because somebody was already down the court, and then it ended up being a whole three-point shot technically. And it's like, oh, okay, that works too. So, I think people ate it up and loved it.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I don't think there's much to read from it, right? It's just a fluky 80-foot shot. But even still, man, it's so rare for an NBA player to hit a shot like that. Just one of those feel-good moments, a fun highlight to rewatch. And if that happens to your team, I imagine you're going crazy. We're powered by FanDuel, by the way. Did not get a chance to mention them right at the top. So I'm doing it now. Both shows powered by FanDuel, part of the Believe Network, Believe in Hawks, Golden Daze. And I'm looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook right now. And the line, because both the Warriors and the Hawks tomorrow play the first of a back-to-back. And then the main event, at least from this show's perspective and the audience's, is Saturday when the Warriors are in Atlanta to take on the Hawks in Jonathan Kuminga's first game facing his old team. For the games tomorrow, the Warriors play the Detroit Pistons, who got some really unfortunate news from their perspective, which is that Cade Cunningham crashed to the floor last night. It was kind of like a scramble for a ball, I think, and he just fell awkwardly and did something in the rib area, which then damaged the lungs. They're diagnosing it as a collapsed lung. I think it's more of just like a rib kind of getting just damage to the rib area that then is pressing on the lung. Point is, Cade's out for a while. I mean, they're saying he might be out until the playoffs. And funny thing is, Bryce, and I was having a chat with one of my good friends and a friend of the program, Armando Laura, earlier today, because we've been talking about the Warriors being an atypical trap game, a trap game team for other higher echelon organizations, right? Like usually when the Warriors play a good team, they fall asleep on them because the Steph's out and they see the malaise. And with Detroit, that could have been another trap game. I actually think with Cade Cunningham out, the Pistons' urgency is going to actually ratchet up a little bit. I don't think that's a benefit for the Warriors because they've been kind of sneaking into these places and giving teams like the Knicks recently a scare. They upset the Rockets a couple weeks back. They're few and far in between, but it happens occasionally. Anyways, there's no line currently for the Warriors and Pistons. There is a line, however, for the Hawks game tomorrow. Atlanta is in Houston. A weird schedule setup where they're going to travel to Houston for a day and then come right back to Atlanta to play the Warriors Saturday. The line for that, however, the Rockets are 4.5-point favorites. The money line, if you think the Hawks are going to win that one outright, plus 160. The OU is 226.5. Jonathan Kaminga ruled out for that game. I'm guessing it's partly injury management. His left knee has been causing issues for months now. It would have surprised me if ultimately he's resting up to serve a dish of revenge, ice cold. He wants to stuff it down his former team's face. I don't blame him if that's an agenda for him. But let's first talk about real quick Hawks and Rockets. The Atlanta Hawks are riding an 11-game winning streak. This is going to be a good test for them. I think this is going to be the toughest opponent for the Hawks since they've started this winning streak. Preview that game for us, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So obviously, Houston is the team that we played earlier this year. That was kind of an ugly game because there was a lot of people out. We had like 4 or 5 players out that game. They had a couple of guys out. They pulled away in the second half because KD and all them still played. But, it's one of those things where coming into this game, like you said, it's probably one of our toughest tests yet. Some people would make an argument if this wasn't for revenge for Kaminga, he would definitely be needed in a game like this. And then everything, but also the Hawks medical staff just being very careful and just, not trying to, put too much on them with the back and things like that. So coming into this game, I think, we pretty much know what's needed. We're going to have to try to control KD and Sengun, and we're going to have to continue to play the game we've been able to play these last 11, stay, really connected defensively, continue to make shots. Nikhil stays hot. Jalen stays hot. CJ, he had a really good game against Dallas yesterday. Just have those guys still continue to play well and then just play, like I said, as a team. Hawks have done a really good job in these 11 games of just pretty much been able to handle teams' runs. They've had a lot of games where they've scored over 120 points, but the team that they played didn't score 100 or 105. So this is going to be an interesting game to kind of see how they match up. Obviously, Houston they pride themselves on defense. They've had some issues offensively, which some teams have been able to take advantage of. And so that's where the Hawks are probably going to have to do the same thing here. They're going to have to try to take advantage, create some turnovers against Houston because they sometimes get bogged down offensively, and then that's where you can make a run potentially against them. And I think that's what the Hawks got to do. But overall vibes are really high for the team right now, and I think they're just kind of enjoying it. And so I think this game will be, like I said, a really good test for them. And it'll be interesting to kind of see how things come along. We are already expecting, because I don't know if you've heard, Tari Eason hasn't made a 3 in 2 weeks for Houston. Yeah, he hasn't made a 3 in 2 weeks. So that's been a story. And every Hawks fan knows how this goes, is that he's going to probably come back tomorrow and hit 8 of them against us. And then we'll have to see what happens. So, but overall, I feel good about the game. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Listen, the Hawks are going to be juiced up. Obviously, when we played Orlando a couple of games ago, that was the best team we had played up at that point in this streak. And, people were wondering, are the Hawks real? Are the Hawks just beating on bad teams? And we went out there and we smacked them. Now we're just the first true road game. I think this is the second road game we played during the streak, because we've had 2 homestand, 1 road game, and another homestand, I believe, until the Dallas game. So this will be the 3rd road game actually during this streak. And, I think we have a good shot to win tomorrow, but also, Houston's lost the last 2 games and they're trying to bounce back. So it'll be an interesting matchup.
Wholeheartedly agree. The Tari Eason news, by the way, it made me look it up in terms of some specifics here. First of all, the last time Tari Eason made a 3-point shot was March 5th, ironically enough, against the Golden State Warriors when he went 1 for 5. And maybe the craziest part about this is, despite having not made a 3-pointer in 2 weeks, he's still shooting 37.3% from deep on the year, which begs the question, at least from my perspective, what was he shooting before the slump started? Tari Eason. Now, look, I know you said, go figure for a Hawks fan, Tari Eason will probably snap out of that slump against your team tomorrow. The flip side of that, though, is maybe the slump continues and Tari Eason doesn't make another 3-pointer, and that slump just extends until who knows what. That's a funny number, good research there. But the Houston Rockets, if you don't mind talking about them for 1 second, because they've been the strategy defensively that other teams have been using and applying against them defensively is double Kevin Durant, get the ball out of his hands, and force someone else to beat you. And that strategy has been effective. Even Durant talked about that. I think I heard some attributions from him a couple nights ago. Not the Lakers game last night that they lost. It was the game before that, where Durant admitted that he's seeing these traps like the moment he crosses half court. Sometimes he's seeing full court pressure, but defenses are squaring up, and you're not seeing the Rockets adjusting quick enough to those defensive sets from opponents. And again, the Rockets just don't they look like a team missing something, especially when that defensive strategy is applied to their offense. When Durant's taken out, man, you don't have a lot of shooters on that team. They whether it's Fred VanVleet, whether it's just poor roster construction, but what do you anticipate the Atlanta Hawks strategy being, and how have the Hawks played defensively this year?
I think in this game will be interesting because it's a weird matchup because we really don't have a guy, quote unquote, that can guard KD like one-on-one, I guess. Like it could be Jalen, but I think they'd rather him not do that because he has to save energy load offensively, huh?
Is it because they want him to save energy for the offensive side?
Yeah, exactly. Because he has a higher usage rate with us, and so we'll probably throw Dyson on him, which is usually what we do. I mean, we throw Dyson on everybody. We threw him on Giannis, and he actually did a terrific job on him.
Incredible.
So, I mean, Dyson is just a all versatile defender, especially with the starting lineup we start with Nikhil and Dyson as our 2 and 3. So those would probably be the 2 guys that we throw on KD, and then probably some Rishi Shea a little bit when he comes into the game. And then obviously, if guys switch and things like that, they'll take on the challenge. But that's what I probably see us doing. We haven't really trapped a lot. We have definitely played more one-on-one defense and then just played really good team defense behind that, which I think has led to a lot of success because it helps them create turnovers, get into passing lanes, and get out in transition, which is the strength of the team. So that's what I'm kind of looking at from that perspective. And then overall with the team defense, I mean, the defense at times this year has been really good, and there's times where it's not. And I think this stretch has obviously been the best it's been. I think we're top 2, top 3 in defense since the All-Star break, defensive rating. So, I think that the Hawks are kind of, figuring it out, even without not really having a rim protector, so to say. We have done a really good job of still playing, like I said, such great team defense that we've been able to, contain other guys and just keep offenses from not going too crazy. And like I said, even if you make a run, just figuring it out. It's one of those things where, if you're able to get something on them early, they've been able to adjust as the game continues to go on, and then they're able to kind of slow that down so you're not able to use that to your advantage, later third, fourth quarter. So I think we've done a really good job of kind of locking on that side of the ball because I think, Quinn Snyder's talked about it multiple times. Our defense leads to offense. I think you hear a lot of coaches say that, but for us especially, that wasn't always the case. He used to say offense helped our defense. And now with us moving on from the Trae Young era, we've really invested in defensive, especially because we have guys like Dyson, like Nikhil, who can apply a lot of ball pressure on ball handling. So I think that really helps.
Cheering that Trae Young is no longer a part of your team.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Bravo. You got out of that.
I mean, hey, listen, I wish him the best. Hey, listen, when he's playing Washington, he put on a show for them guys, so I can't hate it.
I can. Look, he played against the Wizards, and GP2 literally took him out. It was a fun matchup for about a half, and then Trae Young suffered a quad bruise, and we never saw him again. So that's how that game went. Sorry to interrupt you, man. Did you finish your thought? I didn't know.
I was literally about to wrap up. No, I would completely fine. Bro. You're good.
Well, so far, so damn good for the Hawks with Kuminga. Now, the flip side of it is the Golden State Warriors. They got Kristaps Porzingis. And we're going to briefly touch on Buddy Hield in a second because he finally got his first appearance as a member of the Hawks just last night, I believe. His first minutes playing wearing a Hawks uniform. But the Warriors got Kristaps Porzingis, and he's been active now for a few games. But I wanted to ask you about a few weeks back when Steve Kerr put his foot in his mouth and said that he spoke with your GM, the Hawks GM, Ansi Sala. And according to Kerr, Sala told him that Porzingis wasn't even diagnosed with POTS. And that what Kristaps Porzingis himself admitted, this information came from his mouth. So when Steve Kerr's saying it's misinformation, he's basically telling the public his own player doesn't know what the hell he's talking about his own body and what he's dealing with. Nonetheless, Steve Kerr then had to backtrack, but we still don't know. We don't have clarity apparently on what's ailing Porzingis. What we do know is that it's something. Because just the other day, he had to miss a game with what we saw on the injury report as illness management. That's what they labeled it. I'd never seen that in my life. I don't know if he had missed games for the Hawks previously with that same title, that same category applied to his injury. But what was your reaction when you first heard that? Like, was that news to you that this was a mystery, or was the POTS thing, was that common knowledge among the Hawks fan base that even you guys didn't know what the hell was really going on?
I mean, we were just under the impression that it was POTS. I mean, that's what we were. It's funny because, one of the content creators and who also covers the team kind of said that the Hawks organization themselves never actually said that's what he had. That, like you said, it came from KP.
Right.
When Kerr said it, it was like, right, they never have came out. And when they talked about KP and say that's what he has. So it made you wonder, like, does he really not have it? Have we been thinking something this whole time? But at the same time, why would KP and his team and whoever's been working with him to get through this situation, tell him that if it's not that? So it definitely caused a lot of confusion because now it's like, what is it?
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
It brought back a lot of narratives that people had before we got a diagnosis. See, I'm sure you've seen them. So like, it's one of those things where it's like, it was weird. It was just like, what does he have then? Like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on and everything. And then obviously I know Kirk came out and said, oh, I don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's like, what is he dealing with that it's just like he's unable to be on the floor consistently? Like what is happening? So
right.
It's one of those things where you're like, I'm confused now, but I guess okay. So
yeah, and he played again last night against the Celtics. He played 2 games before that against the Wizards, dropped 30, and then you had, of course, the section of the fan base that'll cheer literally anything, pretending that 30-point accomplishment was an accomplishment, forgetting that Bam Adebayo had dropped 83 on that same team just last week. But nonetheless, it's been, it's one of those things where when he's available, there are moments where it kind of looks interesting. It looks like maybe his addition would be nice. We'll never know, what the ultimate conclusion is on the Kristaps Porzingis experience until we see him play with Stephen Curry on the court. And who knows if that's going to happen this season. Steph trying to ramp up. Side note, Steph and Seth are in Charlotte tonight, where you're currently located, celebrating Del Curry's jersey retirement by the Hornets. So that's happening there. Sorry for the chuckle. I just think it's a little funny that Del Curry is getting his number retired. I mean, look, he had a 16-year career and he was able to stay on the court for a long time. The shooting numbers were spectacular, but usually when I see a player's number retired, it's because they had a Hall of Fame career. And there was something at least comparable to that. And Del Curry was not exactly a Hall of Famer, but that's also the short, the very thin history of the Hornets in general I think is partly a testament to Del Curry getting his number retired. Anyways, that's going on. Steph is there, but that's the Porzingis experience is one that's to be determined, I think. One strong opinion I have, Bryce, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this season. I sure as shit do not want a big dollar deal being given to Kristaps Porzingis, considering the dependability factor. You have no idea how many games he's going to play for. He's making $30 million this year. If the Warriors can bring him back on like a veteran minimum or like $5 million, something ridiculously cheap, fine. But don't invest money that's going to handicap you from getting free agents who can be available for you. That's just my take on it. What's your Kristaps Porzingis take before we move on from the subject real fast in general, since he's been on the Warriors?
I think, like I said, when he plays, he definitely I think he's played well. I think, like I said, when he played for us, when he was actually on the floor, he played well for us. So, I think he's a productive player when he can get out there still. I think that's something he's kind of shown in the minutes he's played. Right. He helps off, like I said, rim protection. He's 7'3", mismatch. You can mismatch hunt with him a little bit if you want. Obviously has range as a shooter and everything like that. So, I think, it's always been interesting because everybody knows he won't get 30 million because of this. Right. It's just what is that number, And I think a lot of that is also based off just how he plays. If he plays like 90% of the season for the rest of you and he plays really, really well, it's like, all right, well, we obviously want to make sure he's getting a fair deal. But then at the same time, I could see him doing a 2-year, 1+1, essentially 1 year and then an option year, just to kind of see, okay, where is he? If he's doing really well, maybe we can look, maybe that second option, second year is a bigger number, but more of a starting point, maybe if things work out, where you always have the ability to get out. Because like I said, right now, since he's on an expiring contract, if he don't play for you, he's off the books as soon as the summer hits. So you don't even have to worry about the brother no more. So It'd just be interesting to kind of see kind of how that goes. And I think that's one thing. I think as we're trying to decide with Kaminga what we want to do with his contract, it's kind of the same thing for you guys, where it's like, okay, what do we want to do with Porzingis? If he plays well for us, as I've said, still trying to make that last run potentially with Curry and however long he has left. Is he a guy that we can trust to be a part of that process and trying to make a successful push maybe next year for the Warriors?
What do you predict? And I know this is not an easy question to answer, and your answer is going to be a guess for the most part, but in your opinion, what is your prediction for what Kuminga is going to get from the Hawks? Because Kuminga did a very brief interview with Jake Fisher that got published today. He's part of Mark Stein's Substack. And in that interview, he mentioned, or I don't know if it was because of that interview, but I've been seeing some news items dropping that the Hawks and Kuminga will likely not exercise the team option on his contract, which is what he's still owed for next year. He has a 1-year team option for about $25 million. The likelihood is he's going to opt out of that. The Hawks will come to an agreement on a new extension. What do you see that being? Is it going to be something long, like 5 years, 100 million? Is it going to be maybe something like 3 years, 60 million? I'm throwing 20 million out annually because I'm guessing that's going to be somewhere near what he gets. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. What's your prediction?
I don't think it'll be like 4 or 5 years. I think if anything, it'll be like 3.
Okay.
I think 20 would be a good starting number. I think it's funny because it's still people are kind of split a little bit on like how much he should get. That's why, again, it's big to see how he performs for us. Like literally us making a playoff run and him being a big part of that is only going to help him get more money. I mean, and then, you might reach that 30, 35 million. I mean, it's really an interesting point because sometimes teams use that option as like a starting point for negotiations. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's 24 million. Okay, we'll start here. And then, but the one thing the Hawks have been able to do the last few years, and they did this with Jalen Johnson, they've done this with Yucca Okongwu, they've been able to get really good team-friendly deals for these players. Okongwu is on probably one of the best contracts in the league for a top 14, 13 center in the game. Jalen Johnson, we gave him that extension I think it kicked in just this year. And he looks like he may be an MVP candidate, top 10 MVP candidate. So, like, we've done a really good job of getting solid contracts for these guys and not blowing the bank. And I think that's something, even though Ansi, who is a believer in Kaminga, obviously part of that report with Jake Fisher was just how he always was a positive for him while he was also
right. Yeah.
I think he's going to want to pay Kaminga, but he's also going to be like, listen, we're giving you an opportunity. We're believing in you. We want you to be the best version of yourself. But at the same time, we also are trying to build something. We want you to be a part of it. So we want, make sure we have a fair number for both sides where you feel like you're getting what you deserve. But at the same time, we're not also putting ourselves in a position that won't allow us to build. Because remember, along with Kaminga and that potential extension is the draft pick. Because that draft pick could play a major part in the negotiations. If the Hawks get top 3, where essentially you may add an AJ DeBonza or a Darren Peterson, or even, if you get 5 to 7, if there's a forward in that range, how does that impact negotiations if the Hawks want it to go in that direction? Because now you have a full forward room with Ricochet and Johnson and Kaminga and whoever the draft pick is, if that is the direction they go in. So I think that I don't think that's going to dramatically change his number, but I think it may make the Hawks feel like, hey, if we have an opportunity to acquire a guy, like just to say happens to be AJ DeBonza, what does that mean for Kaminga, And so I think that's going to be the interesting part. It's just kind of seeing how those negotiations go and what number they feel like is fair for him. Because I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2-year with a 1-year option for Kaminga, where, hey, let's see how this goes next 2 years. And then you're still young. You'll still be in the prime of your career. If you were balling for us, now we can start talking
right.
Maybe a more bigger contract, depending on where we are as a team.
And the problem with that idea is you need to have Kuminga and his representation, Aaron Turner, agree to that. And something tells me they're going to want some security with this next deal, because if you don't come to an agreement, you might lose him for nothing in a year. And so if you re-sign him for that team option and then he explodes next season and you lose him after that, that's going to burn. And that's the risk with not securing him for something that's longer term, like 3+ years. My prediction would be, I'm with you. I don't think they're going to give him a 5-year deal after this season, unless Kaminga plays in the postseason and the team goes deep, largely because of him. Then I could see the bag really opening up. But my guess would be like 3 years, 75, because it just occurred to me he's making 25 now. So 3 years, 60. That the premise there is he's actually taking less annually than what he's making now. And I don't see that happening. So 3 years, 75 would be my guess. Maybe 3 years, 80, something like that. And for those who are not familiar with what you mean in regards to the Hawks draft pick, friendly reminder, Atlanta owns the Pelicans first round pick. One of the craziest stories last offseason that's still relevant today, because you guys are going to have that pick. And Bryce, it ain't top 3, it's top 4 is what everyone's hyping up in terms of getting like a surefire type player, whether it's a Darren Peterson, whether it's a DeBonza, whether it's Boozer, I think Caleb Williams, is that the name of the fourth
Caleb
guy?
Wilson.
All four of those guys seem to be getting a lot of traction in terms of just the prognosticators feeling damn good about those guys. And and again, the Jonathan Kuminga experiment so far seems to be absolutely phenomenal for you guys. I'm so bitter about all of this, but what the hell can I do? And I'm looking at the one surprising thing about all this in terms of your Hawks being on an 11-game winning streak currently is, despite winning 11 in a row, you're still the 8th seed. Like, and right now that I'm looking at the standings, the Hawks are tied with the Miami Heat, literally record-wise. Both teams are 38 and 31. I'm guessing Miami's ahead of Atlanta because of tiebreakers. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. The Hawks just beat Orlando the other day. I'm guessing that represented the biggest win of this winning streak. Mm-hmm. And if they beat Houston, I'm going to guess that will surpass this. But I bring up Orlando because they're just a half game ahead of the Hawks currently as the 6th seed. And then Toronto as the 5 seed is 2 games back. So basically, the Hawks have run the gamut, winning 11 straight, but they haven't made leaps and bounds yet in terms of the standings. If they continue this run, I think then you're going to see them start making these jumps ups in the standings. Anything you want to add to that in terms of why the Hawks are currently the 8th seed despite winning 11 straight?
I mean, obviously, I don't know if you noticed too, but like the Heat and the Magic also went on some winning streaks when we went on a winning streak.
Gotcha.
I think the Magic had a 7-game winning streak before we beat them. I think the Heat went on like a 7-game winning streak before they lost to Orlando. We have the tiebreaker on Orlando. We won the season series 3-0 right now. I think we have one more matchup with them next month. So we'll have the tiebreaker with them. Miami is 2-1 in their favor. We play them the last game of the regular season. So essentially, they have the tiebreaker unless somehow that game comes down to a 1-game winner takes all for a certain spot. And then obviously, tonight, literally right now, I had to go check the scores. I mean, the Hornets are destroying the Magic. They're beating them by 30. And if they lose, we immediately jump to the 7th seed. And then right now, the Heat are playing the Lakers. Heat are leading. If they win, we'll be 7. I believe the Heat will be 6. Ooh. And then, but if they lose, then we'll jump to 6. So we're either going to be 7 or 6 by the end of this night. So we're going to be moving up. And like I said, it's going to be very important for us to keep winning because all of us have tough schedules. We have the 4th toughest schedule at the end of the year. Heat got a couple of tough games coming up. Magic got some tough games coming up. So it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath, trying to get up the seeds and get up those ranks because obviously all those teams don't want to be in the play-in, especially us since we're known as a play-in legacy team and the Heat as well. So we're it's going to be interesting, but that's kind of like where we are right now. But we are literally on the verge of moving up and potentially out of the play-in as of tonight, potentially.
JMoo22 in the chat's writing, I think Zachary Riso-Shaw is actually better at the 2-guard spot and is bigger physically, but he's being blocked by Nickeil Alexander-Walker, whose, side note, the other day, Bryce, I was shocked to learn is averaging over 20 points a game. What the hell was Minnesota thinking, letting him go for nothing? Congrats on that. Dude, your front office, you guys basically got this your new GM from the Warriors, and all he's been doing is striking gold. Like, he's just hitting everything. The trade to get the 1st-round pick, Kaminga, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I know he's not responsible for Jalen Johnson taking a leap, but still, man, like when someone's in charge, you got to credit that guy for good things happening. Kudos. Like, are you as excited about this as I imagine? I all I have is envy coursing through my veins right now. Just the worst personality traits that a human being can encompass is running through me right now. I'm livid at you guys, not you personally, obviously, but I'm just livid at the world. I'm envious. I'm just bitter, man, because your team's doing everything right, and the Warriors, I feel like, are doing everything wrong. And we don't know if it's going to be a course correction this offseason or maybe another year of this bullshit for the Warriors. Well, meanwhile, you guys are young. You're on the upswing. You got a GM who's making smart picks. You got a head coach who's got a head on a swivel and seems to understand what coaching actually means. Bravo. Are you guys feeling as good as they think you are?
Nah, we're feeling great. Listen, it wasn't
what
always
are your thoughts
right.
on JMoo, by the way, 22 as well? So sorry, I want to
I'll talk about that first before I get into your point. I know that's something people have talked about because obviously basketball is becoming more positionless. Some people want Ricochet to play some 2. and then like Kaminga plays 3, and then maybe Jalen plays 4 and things like that. The only reason why is just Ricochet does not have a good handle at all. And in terms of our offense and what we need guys who have good handles and facilitate. So it's like when you're asking Ricochet to play the 2, you have to have a ball handler out there with it, or else you have none. And I mean, Kaminga can do it a little bit. Obviously, if Jalen's out there, he can do it. But like, they want to be able to manufacture it from the guard spot. That's why you start with CJ, who can handle, Nikhil, who can handle, Dyson, who can handle, and then you have Jalen. So you have 4 ball handlers in that starting lineup. So I get why some people say that, but like, I mean, literally, Ricochet will probably, his role is going to probably be his role for a minute, because listen, at the end of the day, your job is to build a good team. So if you're going to win, you got to make sure you get the best players out there as you can and everything like that. So I'm not too, people are going to say that, and maybe one day he does, but I mean, I'm not too, uppity on Ricochet playing 2, at least right now in his career. But going back to your original point about, how I'm feeling is that, I feel great. I think the Hawks are put themselves in a great position. Like I said, it hasn't always been this way. But I mean, going to the All-Star break, it was doom and gloom. I mean, people were like, oh my God, another lost season, another play-in, we suck, da-da-da-da-da. And I kept telling people, I was like, listen, like, some of the moves we made, because at the deadline, a lot of people thought the moves we made were more future-setting moves. Oh, we're getting draft picks. We're getting money freed up. We're getting more expiring contracts. Okay, so they're thinking future. And it's like, they're still going to be able to compete now. I think the biggest thing they wanted to do is get guys who fit the system, fit the culture, fit what Quinn wanted to do better. Because sometimes fit can elevate a team. We sometimes, as people, we just see a player and say, that player doesn't move me, so you just assume he's not going to do anything for you. And it's just like, okay, in this team, what are you asking him to do? Can he do that? Can he do it well? Does the team need it? If the answer is yes, then you got better technically. So, I'm excited for it. I mean, and that's the thing. Here's the thing that Hawks fans are looking at now, because we're doing so well. It looks like we're going to be a playoff team. Is that we're going to be a playoff team with a lottery pick, with a bunch of cap room this offseason.
Do you really? You have cap room as well?
Yeah, because we have a bunch of expiring deals, and a lot of guys.
Oh, damn, man.
So like literally, like we are set up, and obviously the biggest question is going to be, what does Ansi want to do this offseason? How aggressive does he want to become? Because we just got all those assets back after we made those trades for Sadiq Bey and DeJounte Murray, like gave up 5 firsts, 5 seconds. Like we were at an asset deficit. Ansi talked about now we're at a positive input assets. So how aggressive does he want to be? And then with the aprons and how you have to build teams in today's CBA, just how does he continue to help the team grow without, maybe if they don't want to, get into the tax? Because that's something I think Hawks fans have criticized ownership about, not wanting to pay the tax. But okay, if we have a playoff team, and let's say the team gets to the semifinals or the Eastern Conference Finals, does that make you say, okay, let's go a little bit more aggressive, let's pay tax, et cetera, et cetera? So, but they have plenty of cap room where they're not like, we have to go over. It's just, we got to figure out, okay, what's the next steps? What are the next pieces to build to this, along with the draft pick, who's also going to be in a good contract? So I think right now you feel very strong about the future with a young team. It feels like they're building like the Spurs, like the Thunder.
Yes.
Assets, picks, young players, good contracts. And then when you want to make an aggressive move, you have plenty of assets to do it, and don't feel like, hey, if we give up all this, we have nothing left. It's, we still have plenty left, but we had enough to say, okay, let's make a move here and try to improve.
You guys are in a very enviable position. And honestly, man, even before the All-Star break, I know record-wise the Hawks were struggling, but when your team traded Trae Young, to me, that is when it all flipped. Because it became Jalen Johnson's team. Jalen is something special. He's already a star, but he's going to be a superstar, I think, in the near future. The postseason oftentimes is what defines individual legacies. And I'm very fascinated and riveted to see what the Hawks do this postseason. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors, I was trying to find a soundbite. I couldn't find it of Draymond Green, because apparently his reaction last night to the Warriors dropping to the 10th seed in the Western Conference was what you'd expect. He was shocked. He was dismayed. And again, I couldn't find the soundbite. I guess he just said it and people wrote it down. But as weird as this may sound, the player on the Warriors that's getting the most minutes over the last 2 months is Brandon Podziemski. a player that I'm seeing ridiculed more and more by the aggregators and the meme creators and all that stuff. But you still have this decent section of the fan base that delusionally thinks this kid is something special and could be a star. It's wild how many people still defend this guy, and usually there's a correlation with that and folks refusing to admit that Steve Kerr is just completely screwing the pooch here for a while now. And again, this all subjective content, but that's my take on it. But you, as an Atlanta Hawks content creator, as the host of Believe in Hawks, as someone who covers Atlanta sports and has been doing it for a long time, you have the outsider's perspective when it comes to Brandon Podziemski. What do you guys think about this guy? Because I don't get it at all. And I to me, he's literally the worst player on this team, literally. And that's my take. What's your thoughts? What is your thought on just the fact that he's leading the Warriors in minutes? And would Brandon Podziemski play in the Hawks if he was on that team?
I mean, I think he would play. I just think it'd be in a reduced role. I don't think he'd be leading us in minutes. I don't think that'd be anywhere close to that. It's interesting with him because I do see a lot of slander for him. I do see a lot of people crapping on him. This is my true view of of him. I don't think he's as terrible as people say he is. I just think he's being elevated because first he's with the Warriors. Y'all are now a big brand in today's league. So obviously a lot of primetime games, a lot of, opportunity. Obviously a lot of Warrior fans feel like he's kind of pushed him to the forefront while you traded Kaminga. And so he's been put in this place where now if he isn't at this level, you think he's the worst thing ever. I think he can play. I mean, actually, I have a good friend who does a lot of analytical breakdowns and things like that. He works for a website that does all these things. And he talked about him actually, because he said a lot of people crap on him, but the analytics actually say he's been one of your better players analytically in terms of contributing to winning. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but the
Bryce, I need to know the specifics. Well, it's not just that it sounds crazy. It's I hear that a lot from these folks who rely on a lot on advanced metrics, but I have zero respect for individual net rating. That to me is a grossly subjective stat, and you could use that to substantiate narratives that are not rooted in reality. So if you don't mind, next time talking to your friend, ask him what specific analytics he's looking at, because the only one that seems to pop routinely is individual net rating. And that was great in years 1 and 2 when he was in lineups with Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, Wiggins. He was always playing with the stars. Like he never played with the bench units. He was rarely like anchoring lineups that did not have these superstars, Draymond Green, another one, surrounding him. And I did a massive deep dive into that because I was like, what is going on here? And that's what's going on. And you see his net rating stats this year plummeting because he's not surrounded by these superstar players. That's the only net rating. I'm sorry, that's the only analytic, if that makes sense, a stat that I've seen that could present him in a good light. So if you don't mind following up, because if there's something I'm missing, I'd love to hear it. But that's the only stat I keep hearing that helps support the argument for Podziemski as well as individual net rating. And it's like, A, it ain't that great this year. And B, you got to look at it in a grander viewpoint because there's 5 dudes playing on the court at all times. And if someone's playing always with Steph, Draymond, and then whether that third piece is Wiggins or Jimmy Butler, yeah, of course your net rating is going to be good because you're surrounded by future Hall of Famers, man. Am I making sense?
No, it makes sense because I was about to say, like, I know eye test is going to probably maybe say something different to you, and so I think he's fine. I just think that he shouldn't be your top 3 options for sure.
No,
I think he is a solid NBA role player, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like I said, with the narrative around him, with the Kaminga stuff, of how it feels like he gives him so much leeway. It makes him come off like they think he's about to become some star player. And then that's where everybody's like, what are y'all seeing that we're not seeing? So, I think that's kind of how I view that part for him. But that's why I said, if he was on my team, I'm like, he could be like a role player. He would be like a bench guy. I mean, he would be probably.
Well, let me ask you this, just so we can get some clarity here. Would you play him over CJ McCollum? And if not, would you cut McCollum's minutes for him?
No.
Okay, now the same premise, because again, this is where like if you don't do a deep dive and focus on the nuance, it's easy to think that he could have a role on your team. But the moment you actually look at the finite details here, it becomes a challenging statement. Like, would he cut into Nickeil Alexander-Walker's minutes?
No, honestly, if he's cutting in anybody's, I think he would just replace Corey Kispert, to be honest with you.
Would you do that though? Like, is he a better player than Kispert?
I think they're around the same player, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's like,
that's
I mean,
fair.
Kispert only plays like 10 to 12 a night.
That's
for
fair.
So, I mean, it's not like he's playing a ton for us either. Like, obviously, if he has it going, like, if he's hitting shots and he's, all right, yeah, he's going to play more. But like on a nightly basis, I'm like, I mean, he could be like, so we play 5 guards? He'll be the 5th guard. Essentially.
Gotcha. I like that. If that to me is a rational comparison. Corey Kispert. Are you happy with him, by the way? Because you guys got him in that Trae Young trade, and I know he had one monster game, but you surround that with a whole bunch of what? What's your take on Corey Kispert?
I think Kispert's fine. He hasn't really been fantastic for us, especially if you look at the numbers. Let's go to the net positive. The net positive does not actually go in his favor. There's been a lot of games where he's in the negative. He's not a great defender. And then it's like what you always get when you have shooters. If he's not hitting threes, what does he do for you? Now, Kispert is more willing to like put the ball on the ground, go to the basket, attack, and try to create off of that. Which I think because he had a game where he had like 7 assists, so like within our offense he could work. But I also think the unit we put him with isn't ideal to him because we also have CJ and then Jock Landale, who are obviously our 2 worst defenders. You know what I'm saying? So you put him out there, that's not going to look great, but. I think overall, I think he's fine. He's just not someone we can play a lot. It's just, he's limited. It's like if he has it going, great. We need the ability to space and shoot threes, but he's also not someone who's like, oh, yeah, he deserves to be getting 20, 25 minutes. And I mean, Hawks fans are already asking, what can we get for him this offseason? Are we going to Terrence Mann him? Can we get 2 seconds? What can we do with him? So that's kind of how we man him.
I like the verb there. Yeah, and look, if I'm the GM of the Warriors and the Hawks are like, hey, do you want Corey Kispert for Brandon Podziemski straight up? Like, I'm saying yes before he can finish that sentence. And Corey Kispert this season is averaging 19.4 minutes per game. If I look at the game log to see if that number goes up or down in terms of his tenure with the Hawks, that number went down. So, for example, in the month of March, Corey Kispert is currently averaging 14.6 minutes per game. If Warriors fans want to know a very hard yet very pragmatic truth, if Brandon Podziemski was averaging 14.6 minutes per game and not 37, 38 minutes per game, which is what he's getting most nights now, no one would be talking about him. No one, like all the negativity that some people are sensitive about would not exist. It's just Steve Kerr props this guy up, and he's not someone that should be propped up, at least in my opinion. But that's just me. I don't know. And I'm looking at the injury report here, Bryce, for both teams. The Atlanta Hawks, again, playing the Houston Rockets tomorrow. On the injury report, the team's two-way players, or at least 2 of them, Ray Dennis and Keshawn Gilbert, listed as doubtful. I don't know how often they're traveling with the team or if they're with the G League squad. Kaminga is out for tomorrow with the left knee injury management. And Asa, or is it Asa or Asa Newell? Also Asa. A G League player, apparently.
Asa Newell,
listed as doubtful. Because he's injured, because he's going to be on a G League assignment. So I think that the bottom line in terms of health for the Hawks is you guys are fine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've had years where we have had every night 3-4 guys on there questionable, and we're just trying to see who's going. And I think that scars Hawks fans sometimes, because when Kaminga's been on the injury report, they'll be like, oh my God, why is this happening? And I'm like, and it's funny because I'll give you some tidbit. There's been a guy who's been like feeding me some information about Kaminga. Apparently, I guess he has a connect to him, and he's been telling me about his injury and everything. And like overall, Kaminga will be just fine. They're just being super careful because since he had to go back and sit out some games. And so, I mean, I think they're planning on ramping him up. Like I said, he'll get more minutes against the Warriors, and then should be no restrictions in April if everything goes normal, no setbacks and everything, and then Kaminga will be full force. Because like I said in the article, Jalen Johnson talked about it. He's Kaminga's waiting to be unleashed. And so, I think, that's something that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. And, overall, I think I'm glad that our health's good because, like I said, that's been a big issue for us the last few
Hell
years.
yeah, dude. Congrats on that. And you folks play the Rockets tomorrow. Steven Adams is out for the year with the left ankle surgery that he's had to have. The only besides him, Fred VanVleet is out for the year. We know that. Jayshawn Tate is out with a right knee sprain. And then Tristan Newton is a two-way guy, so he's not going to be playing because he's split the G League squad. So two relatively healthy teams, Jonathan Kuminga notwithstanding the long-term injuries by the Rockets, Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet notwithstanding. And then for the Warriors, who played the Detroit Pistons Friday, the Pistons currently do not have an injury report. They actually are playing today. I don't know if they're playing like at the second, but so they don't have a report. The Warriors, besides the obvious ones, Jimmy Butler, he's out for the year. Seth Curry is out with the left adductor strain. Al Horford is out with what they're now labeling as a right soleus strain, which originally was a calf strain. I'm guessing now that has more to do with the foot. Moses Moody is still out with a right wrist sprain. Quentin Post is questionable with a right foot injury management. Stephen Curry is still out with a runner's knee. LJ Cryer listed as probable with left hamstring management. He's been dealing with that all season. So that is your lengthy injury report for the Warriors as they get set to play. Did you see
the Michael Porter injury report?
Excuse me, what?
Michael Porter Jr. injury report, like from like a day ago.
No. What did it say?
He had like it was like right hamstring awareness was the injury listing.
What does
and people were like, "What does that mean? Does that mean we're just aware of an injury?" Nobody's ever seen that listing before. Right hamstring awareness.
Was there clarity on that, or like
today he got a new re-diagnosis where he has a hamstring injury? I think it's like strained, and he'll be out for he'll be reevaluated 2-3 weeks. But yesterday, I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's they're calling it a strain here. It's a left hamstring strain. But you're saying it was originally awareness?
Yes, it was left hamstring or right hamstring awareness.
They're getting cute with these things. By the way, the Pistons are on an earlier injury report. Here's what I can tell you about Detroit. Again, the Warriors playing the Pistons tomorrow in Detroit. Cade Cunningham is out indefinitely with left lung pneumothorax. It's a collapsed lung that, again, came from that injury yesterday where he fell hard. And it was partly because of the ribs pressing up against the lungs. Just an ugly injury. I hope he's okay soon. Isaac Jones, Bobby Klintman, Wendell Moore Jr. are all playing with the G League squad. They're going to be out. And Big Stu, Isaiah Stewart, this is actually, I think, going to benefit the Warriors. He's going to be out with the left calf strain. So that's the injury report for the Detroit Pistons. And then again, we don't know what the spread is going to be. Do you have a prediction for? I'm going to safely assume that the Warriors will be underdogs in Atlanta. Do you think the Hawks will be a heavy favorite? What's your prediction there?
I think we'll be like a 5 point,
okay,
6
point.
Fair,
yeah.
I don't think it'll be anything crazy. I think you'll get the normal home points and then just, whatever outside of that. So, I mean, like I said, last time we played you guys, I think we won that matchup. So,
yeah, you did.
You would assume that the teams are heading in two different directions. But again, I don't know. KP might be I don't know if KP's playing back-to-back, so I don't know if KB plays tomorrow. That means he's going to play against us.
Good question. I didn't see him on the injury report, so, I mean, usually that means he's going to play. But, yeah, the last time the Warriors and the Hawks played, that was January 11th, and the score reflects a far more closer game than it really was. 124-111 was the final. The Hawks won, but that was not a contest, man. You guys came into Chase Center and just blew the Warriors away.
That's usually where it's stuff for us too. In the Chase Center, we usually
correct. Yeah,
we play y'all every year. We beat you at our place, and then y'all beat us at y'all place. It's always like if y'all beat us first, then we'll get you back. If we beat you first, y'all get us back. It feels like we've split like for many years now in our season series. So it's always fun to actually kind of seeing us play each other because it just feels like it's always. Honestly, it's always kind of really good games when we play each other.
Not this year. But again, the first game was what your team comfortably won. And then something tells me that pattern will be snapped this season. I do not see the Warriors going into Atlanta and winning that one. My strong prediction is JK is going to have a night. He's going to be motivated. And one of many positive attributes I've found from Kuminga is pressure does not faze the kid at all. If anything, he rises up when the pressure's on him. So I'm going to predict the Warriors going to just win handily. That would be my guess. I could be obviously mistaken on that, but yeah, we'll find out. Again, Warriors Hawks Saturday. That should be riveting. Are you going to be? Is Believe in Hawks going live after the game? What's the coverage looking like on your side?
I work Saturday night, so I mean, I'll probably do a podcast after that because I usually try to do podcasts, especially after wins. I try to do that as soon as I can. So, I mean, yeah, if everything works out like some people expect us and we win, I'll probably have something up. If not that night, definitely the next morning for sure on the podcast. So definitely going to, talk. I mean, I'm going to talk about it anyway just because of revenge game, KP's back, Kaminga. There's just so many storylines going into the game that's just like you got to talk about it. So definitely going to be on top of that.
So before we go, unless there's topics that I missed that you want to bring up, Bryce, and obviously feel free to do so. This is a crossover. It's your show as much as mine. I started a new segment called This Day in Warriors History, and today we could cover both teams. You got something up your sleeve too, right?
Yeah.
You have some, or not? You don't have to. I mean,
no. I got you for sure.
Okay. Well, we got an open for this, and again, this is a fun little bit just to revisit the old days and considering where the Warriors are heading direction-wise. And then the Hawks are doing this. Folks like me have to now start relying on gimmicks like This Day in History to keep things interesting. Whereas if you're covering the Hawks, all you got to do is talk about your team, and that's riveting enough. I digress. This Day in Warriors History. Sorry, This Day in Warriors and Hawks history.
Good evening, and welcome back to The Story. This is old-timey news anchor.
Adept in news coverage never before seen in the Bay Area.
A little elevation sensation.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Yeah, on this day in Golden State Warriors history, and Bryce will have something for the Hawks. I found two interesting occurrences that occurred on this date. We're recording on March 19th. First up, this date in Golden State Warriors history, on March 19th, 1972. I'm going back before both Bryce and I were born. The LA Lakers beat the Warriors on this date in 1972. How many years ago was that? 54 years ago. 162-99. Which at that point represented the most lopsided victory in NBA history. Which then begs the question, what is the most lopsided victory in NBA history currently? And that is not the current biggest blowout in NBA history. The current biggest blowout in NBA history occurred back in 2021. When the Memphis Grizzlies defeated the OKC Thunder 152-79, a 73-point win. In 1991, the Cavaliers defeated the Miami Heat 148-80 for a 68-point win. And then in 1998, the Pacers defeated the Portland Trailblazers 124-59 for a 65-point win. So the Warriors losing by 63 to the Lakers is now the fourth biggest blowout in NBA history. I have one more storyline, Bryce, to drop on you before we hear about what happened to the Hawks on this date. But any thoughts on the blowout, Bryce? Any reaction?
I just learned something. I didn't know. I knew about obviously since that's more recent, the Memphis one. I didn't know about the other two though.
Yeah, so, me neither. This is new to me too. Yeah.
Now I guess I'm getting the lore up. I guess I'm coming on Golden Hawks. I'm learning things. I'm acknowledging coming to you like, wow, look.
Shoot, man. I mean, hey, sorry, I got to come back for more.
Side note, everyone in the Believe in Hawks audience, if you folks want to join Golden Daze Saturday night, please do so. We happily accept subscribers, and same goes for Believe in Hawks. Anybody watching on the Golden Daze side of the audience, subscribe to Believe in Hawks. Bryce Lewis hosts that program, especially if you're curious about how Kuminga's doing with his new team. One other event that happened on this date in March 19th. This was back in 2016 when the Golden State Warriors eventually won 73 games. On this date, however, the Warriors did not win a game. They lost to the San Antonio Spurs, who that same season won 67 games. They were a juggernaut almost as much as the Warriors were. And Golden State went into San Antonio on March 19th and lost 87-79, extending a losing streak in San Antonio by the Golden State Warriors to 33 straight games. Side note, I was at that game. I was in Texas in San Antonio. The great Raymond Ritter set me up, and I thought, of all the games that I'm going to go to, I'm going to guess the Warriors will win this one because they're on the way to winning 73 games. And no, they did not win. I thought the score was the most interesting part of it, though. 87-79, a very low scoring affair. The 73-win Warriors dropping just 79 points on this date. But the Warriors would go on to make the finals that season and then lose in heartbreaking fashion. So what do you have for us, Bryce, in terms of the Atlanta side of things?
I don't really have anything like super special, but something that's a positive in Atlanta Hawks history. On this day, 1993, Dominique Wilkins, the Atlanta Hawks, they went up, played Minnesota Timberwolves at the Omni. Remember that? The Omni.
Yeah.
He dropped 45 in that game. And basically put on a whole show for that crowd. Obviously Dominique one of the greater players in the game. I mean, he came in there. I think the Hawks won that game 121-103. Kevin Willis, 14 rebounds, 16 points. That was also Christian Laettner's rookie year. If you remember, that was his rookie year. He actually scored 23 points and 12 rebounds in that game, fresh off that career at Duke and that gold medal in Barcelona with the Dream Team that previous offseason and everything. And then obviously the year, it's funny we talked about going in two different directions. Minnesota was 19-63 at the end of the year. Hawks went on to be a playoff team, but they got beat by the Bulls, obviously, at that year. So, that's kind of the
I like that
history.
And then Dominique, and we didn't talk about the fact that when the Hawks first acquired Kaminga, you had folks in section 404, which I'd never heard of until this moment, chanting "Thank you, Warriors." You had Dominique repeatedly throwing shade at the Warriors for giving Kaminga up for practically nothing. I imagine you heard all that, and hearing Dominique say it added, I'm guessing, a special moment of nostalgia for you guys. It was a special thorn in the side for Warriors fans hearing that, because I respect Dominique. I don't disagree with him at all. It just hurt because he's right. What was your reaction to hearing all that? It hurt, man.
I mean, listen, that game in general, everybody was, that was definitely the front running, I'm about to just start going crazy because we out in front type of game. Like, people were fired up about him. I mean, listen, seeing what he was doing and how it felt like he was impacting the game was just like, I mean, because like for what we gave up, like, I mean, just KB, and we got him back, and he's doing this, and this is what the Warriors gave up. An organization that has won championships, has had a dynasty, known as one of the premier franchises in the NBA, gave up that type of talent for us. I mean, okay, thank you. Like, if that's how y'all feeling, listen, it's funny because it's like Ansi has that relationship with you guys. Like, there's the connection there. The Warriors and the Hawks will always be connected because of Ansi and now because of Kuminga as far as when he's on the team. So, just the fact that we were able to make a deal like this is almost like, as a Hawks fan, could Ansi Dunleavy again? Could he, I mean, don't be surprised that maybe there's a move we can make, acquire a guy for less. Because we're friends.
Well, I'm happy for you guys. I'm glad Kaminga went somewhere where he can be happy and he's actually valued. And Congrats to your team on that. Buddy Hield, by the way, getting his first appearance last night. Is Buddy? Was that like a garbage time thing? Do you think Buddy will ever? Okay, there you go. I mean, he's a great chemistry guy, though, right? I mean, are you learning that?
Like, that's what I was about to mention. Like, I have heard multiple times on our broadcast from Quinn, from our reporters, that Buddy has been so important for the locker room, so important for the young players that we have, just being there for them, giving them advice, supporting them. Obviously, he's been a big supporter of Kaminga because he came over in that trade with him. He's helped the guys like Jalen and Dyson and things like that. So I think, Buddy Hield has been a very impactful player because, again, he's played in playoff series. He's been a part of runs. He has those experiences. Even though he's not playing right now, he can still impart that wisdom on the guys. And so I think he's been huge just in terms of in the locker room, helping guys stay steady, and just combining with some of the guys who are expected to kind of lead us when we get to the playoffs, with Nikhil, who has playoff experience, with CJ, who has a ton of playoff experience, Gabe Vincent as well. I mean, he's just a part of that group of veterans who's helping lead the young guys and, trying to see what can we do with this thing.
Yeah. And again, the game is Saturday. I'm riveted. Win or lose, it should be fun. And I'm saying that from the Warriors' perspective. They're in all likelihood going to get their asses kicked. I think the Pistons game is going to be closer. That is my prediction. I think the Warriors might actually make it a game at Detroit, largely because, again, most of these better teams look at the Warriors as a trap. I don't see that happening Saturday. I think that fan is going to be behind. All the fans are going to be supporting Kuminga and rallying behind him. I think his teammates are going to rally behind him, and it's going to be fun. Unless you're a Steve Kerr fan, then I don't think it will be fun. But that's just my take. By the way, Bryce, I asked you about before we go. I asked you about your thoughts on Podziemski as in providing us with an outsider's perspective. Steve Kerr's son, Nicholas Kerr, is in our chat and wants your thoughts on him. And I think more specifically, what Nicholas Kerr is asking is, why did my dad name me Nick? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Hey, listen,
right, we're done. All right, we're done. And again, the moment Saturday Night Live broached into that territory, it was open game in my book. Like, okay, SNL is now cracking jokes on this. We're gonna have fun. Yeah, make that make sense though. I'm looking forward to the media person who actually brings that up with Steve, because no one has an answer on that. Like, why would you name him that? I had a friend in college. Her name was Liz Hunt. First name Liz, short for Elizabeth. Last name Hunt. And until I met her, I used to always think, and I was very young back then. This was straight out of high school. And I remember thinking even back then, if someone's last name is Hunt, you don't name them Michael, right? If someone's last name is Hawk, you don't name them Michael, right? Her brother's name was Mike. Michael Hunt. You can say for yourself how that sounds. Same premise. Like, what are you thinking? I'll leave it there. Bryce, tell people how they can follow you on socials. Tell people how they can subscribe to Believe in Hawks. Promote away, sir, before we go.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you always, man.
Yeah, always. Thanks for playing along, too.
So you can definitely subscribe to my channel, Brycey 2K Sports, or Believe in Hawks if you just want to look up the show title. If you want to keep up with Kaminga, how he's doing, what he's been doing for the Hawks, I have been on top of that in my 10 years so far in the Kaminga era. So if you want to definitely hear about that, hit that subscribe button. Comment on anything that you feel like, you hear, you want to put an opinion on. Also available through audio, any audio podcast platform, Google, Apple, Spotify. Definitely go ahead if you don't have time to watch it on, your TV or phone. And then also follow me on Twitter at Bricey_2K, BRICY_2K. If you want to catch up with me, interact, just keep up with any live tweets that I'm making during some of those moments of game and things of that nature. So, and then, we just kind of just keep it going, obviously, with the winning streak and, potential playoff push that we're making here. We have a lot of good content coming out. Definitely gonna have some people on to the show, and then definitely we're trying to knock it out the park and give the coverage to the people that want it. So beautiful. I keep seeing this name Desmond in the chat. I don't know what the reference is to. I have a bunch of he's a content creator in the Hawks community.
Oh,
he's actually pretty popular.
Is he a good dude though? I mean,
Yeah, he's cool. I've been on his show before. Like he's cool.
Okay,
He's,
okay.
like it's a very barbershop style, free form. You just talking, but it's a good time. And he's a great dude. He lives in Texas. He went to the Dallas game. I don't think he's going to the Houston game. I'm not sure, but he's great, man. I love him.
I'm trying to think who's going to defend Kuminga when they play. Like the Warrior, like I don't even know who in the Warriors would defend Jalen Johnson. I mean, maybe it's Draymond Green. Maybe I know Guy Santos is going to get a lot of work, but for a team like the Hawks, like that's the kind of team that gives the Warriors real issues. Like a team that's just stacked with wings, like 6'8" wings. Like the Warriors don't have an answer for that. And I'm looking right now. It's like, okay, who's going to really defend this duo? And Moses Moody's not going to play. So it's either going to be Guy Santos. I'm guessing Will Richard will get that assignment. I'm guessing GP2, despite being 6'2", will get that assignment. Maybe Malachi Leons will get some of that work.
Hey, you still got to figure it out when him and Jalen are both on the floor.
Exactly. Well, that's where I'm getting at. And that doesn't even include like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Do the Hawks? Does your offense struggle a little bit when you have both Daniels and Okongwu on the floor, or is your offense running smooth regardless?
That's pretty smooth.
God damn.
Like the way, listen, Quinn Snyder's an offensive genius, so he knows how to make some stuff work. But I mean, yeah, the offense has been pretty good when they're both on the floor.
Yeah, Sharia saying Guy Santos and Draymond Green will be getting the bulk of that assignment. And all I have to say to that is the Hawks they're gonna have some fun. They're gonna have some. Are you gonna be at the game or no?
No, sadly I will not be at the game. I will not be at work that day. So, but I will definitely be watching as I am waiting for my job to be over with and not into the game.
I love it. Bryce, I appreciate this. And by the way, I don't think I plugged my stuff. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dogwild. By the way, your Twitter handle is also on Threads. I just tagged you. I learned that today. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you're active on Threads, but your handle is there. The same handle. Anyways, at Dogwild on Instagram and Threads, at Surf Journalist on Twitter. The program is on both platforms at Golden Daze Pod. We're going to be live tomorrow night with the Professor Armando Laura immediately following Warriors Pistons, and then Saturday coming to you live again following the Warriors and the Hawks. Bryce, congratulations on covering a team that is just doing this, brother. That is it's a good place to be.
Hey man, it's fun. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it.
All right, man. Are we done?
I think so.
Anything else?
I think I'm good.
I'm good too. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.